Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, February 6th special City Council meeting. With that, Mike Urban, would you please call roll?
Mayor Benjamin.
Present.
Councilmember Gaither. Here. Councilmember DeLira.
Here.
Councilmember Weller.
Present.
Councilmember Guido.
Here.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Councilmember Parks.
Here.
Councilmember Fajarin.
Here.
Thank you. Welcome to a special City Council meeting. There is one item that's on the agenda for this council meeting. Dee, if I can get the list, please. At the first piece, we're going to move into public comment. This is where a person may comment on the agenda item that the City Council will take final action at the meeting. Thank you. This is to provide opportunity for community members to be part of the process. Public comment takes many forms: one-on-one conversations, phone calls, emails, public meeting comments. No one form should take higher precedent. Thank you to everyone who's previously taken the time to provide public comment. In a meeting, public comment is not a dialogue, it's your opportunity to provide a comment. It is inappropriate for City Council to respond during public comment time. We do have a code of conduct that the City Council and staff abide by, and we request that the community also abide that code of conduct also. Public comment remarks are to be made to the chair and not to a specific member, staff, or the audience. To be considered for public comment, you need to sign up ahead of time as a part of the meeting. The comment for a special meeting is limited to the one agenda item before council. All comments need to be pertinent to this item, and this agenda item is for either to approve or to deny the bid that is before us. That's what it has. That's the only thing that the City Council will be taking action on. The City Council called for the special meeting to be held during this lunchtime. I appreciate those that are able to come out. In order to hold to the request during this time, and since there's been ample opportunity to provide all forms of public comment, even including last week's comment, today's public comment isn't, and we have 24 people that have signed up, so isn't to exceed 48 minutes. Each speaker will have 2 minutes. You don't need to take the whole 2 minutes. Your time isn't transferable to another person. There will be a countdown timer on the screen, which will display when your time is up. In order for us to move the process forward, because often there's delays between, we'll have two microphones set up, and we'll call one microphone, then the next, that way, just in order to be able to provide opportunity within this period. Are there any of the commenters who need an accommodation related to standing, is my question.
I had asthma today very nervously. I would appreciate a wireless microphone, please. Then for those that need accommodation, we'll ask you to come forward first, and you'll be the first ones to provide public comment. The rest of the people, I'd encourage you to go ahead and line up. And there are some people on this list that I see have not previously given public comment. I would encourage you to also, make sure they have an opportunity for that comment. At this time, we'll start the public comment, and the public comment is expected to go until 12:52. And with that, if we have the first person up, so Pam, so please come forward if you'd like to provide public comment. Come to either of the microphones.
There are also 2 chairs. We'll get those that need the accommodation.
And you can stay at the microphone. Yeah. Oh, you can sit. You can sit. You can sit.
Tell me when, please.
Please go ahead and start, Pamela.
Okay, thank you. The aged infrastructure downtown needs repair, but the poorly crafted, underfunded plan on the table today, with the bait-and-switch construction timeline went from 3.5 to 6.5 to 8 months. How will downtown businesses survive? They've been asking and asking to be heard. The only city plan we've heard going into the grossly over-budget construction bid, the big bid, is that residents are supposed to shop more and eat more downtown. Support downtown shifts responsibility to residents. Let's call the city plan ante-up economics. In Washington State, the average restaurant meals cost $25.
If one individual each week dines out breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's $75 per person per week. And remember, this project is slated to be 3 weeks. So Pullman residents, your share is $2,250 each. And remember, if you have a family of 4, $9,000, you're going to ante up by supporting downtown for 30 weeks of construction. City Council, please. The average income in Pullman is $27,000 per person. 32% of people live in poverty. Please do not rob other funding lines in our city budget to debilitate our downtown business district. Since there's not enough ARPA money left to meet the lowest bid, reject the bids. Replan, ditch the defensiveness, accept the help of many educated citizens and business leaders who have offered to help craft a better plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. CJ? And you can...
My name is Sarah Bear, and I own 3 businesses in downtown Pullman. I'm coming to you again begging to be heard, but most of all, begging for your kindness. Yes, in 2018, all of the downtown were elated to hear that the city was finally going to invest in the heart of Pullman. We knew that we would inevitably be looking at 4 months or so of impact. Fine, cool, we could all stomach that. All of us businesses could take 4 months during the summer, even though we knew it was going to suck. But fast forward 2020. 2020 was absolutely economically devastating for any industry that could not pivot to being online only. I can speak for my family that there were many nights we cried ourselves to sleep wondering if we were going to be able to keep our doors open and make sure our employees were well cared for. We survived by the skin of our teeth, not because of well-meaning campaigns of support and such, but mainly because the government stepped in and recognized the restrictions that it put on businesses created huge economic impact. And we are finally now crawling out of the hole, and this project will effectively throw us back in with no safety line. To top it off, for 3 years, you've told us businesses to prepare for 3 months and suddenly change it to close to 7 months, giving us only 2 months to prepare for a 115% increase in the timeline, telling us to just go get more loans to cover the difference. I feel a lot of fear in this room. Fear is part of our evolution. We've survived as a species by being suspicious of things we aren't familiar with. In order to be kind, we have to shut down that animal instinct of fight or flight and force our brain to travel down a different pathway. Empathy and compassion are evolved states of being. They require the mental capacity to step past our primal urges and fear of the unknown. In order for us to look logically at something, we have to be able to overcome that fear and open up the logic centers of our brain. I'm here to tell you that when someone's path through this world is marked with acts of cruelty, they have failed the first in advanced society, and they never forge new mental pathways to overcome instinctual fears. Please do not make this cruel decision to move forward knowing the impacts it may cause on the city of Pullman.
Thank you for your time. So, and then with that, we'll start with the mic then on my left, on my right, your left, and then we'll just switch back and forth between mics. So with that, Alan?
Hi there. I'm Alan Hodges. I currently manage WaFd Bank at the corner of Main Street and Pine. In my 40 years of banking, I've discovered that there are generally 2 types of people. Those that think with their wallet and those that think with their heart. Thinking with my wallet, there's no doubt that the bank will survive any construction timeline. We have the funds. However, thinking with my heart makes me realize that the way this project has been described to me will deny service to my customers who come into my branch on a daily basis to access their financial accounts. There will be no access to the front of the lobby from our branch or the ATM that is located on Main Street. This will effectively deny access to our customers who come into the bank to cash for groceries, make deposits, or process their business deposits. During COVID, our bank was designated as an essential business, but under this project, we will be totally isolated. Little or no parking is available in the evolved parking area behind the bank, and access from a 2-way Paradise Street will create risk to my clients who try to turn onto Pine Street where little or no parking will be available as well. Considering that a large amount of our customers who come to the bank, of which we average $1,400 a month, and all are tax-paying and voting citizens of Pullman, many are elderly or disabled, I ask that each of you on the council today think with your heart rather than your wallets and reconsider a plan that is workable for the businesses in downtown Pullman on Main Street. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Melanie came up with you, so if you just follow.
Thank you, Rick.
So, hi, I'm Melanie Hodges. I own Lily Bees in downtown Pullman, and I am very proud of Lily Bees. I've worked very, very hard for my business. We've been in business 18 years. Half of the money that comes in that store goes back to our community. I've had people cry at Christmas time because they had a check coming. Now, in 2 minutes, this board can decide if I'm important or not. Well, I can tell you that I am. We also have a lot of poverty in this community. We have a bin of beautiful clothing that costs the community $6. A lot of you on this board have never stepped into Lily Bees. I would ask that you make the time, come in and see what we have. The one thing that we do not have is a back door. If I came around and decided I wanted to destroy every one of your business or whatever you do, you would be outraged. But you all have this power. I was back in Colorado for my mother's funeral. The bank was flooded and Lily Bees was flooded, and that was because the city did not do their job. Not one person from this city came and apologized for the neglect that they have had for how many years? 50 years you've had the opportunity to do this. Now you have all this money burning a hole in your pocket, and not one of you said, what will we do for our business? Instead, you all told us this was to help us. That's a lie. We need to do something about this sewer, but you have to remember, I was not given anything. I worked for my business. I have suffered for my business. There are times I've missed with my family because of my business. Now you have 20 minutes to know. You should fill your heart and know that you've got to decide with your heart or you're going to destroy me. And if you destroy me, I will go somewhere else and I will survive. I never saw this coming. Thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Rick Grunwald, 1715 West Lamont Street. I'm in favor of the downtown project. I think it'll be great for Pullman. I'm thankful for those who worked with a vision to see our downtown thrive. We need it. People I talk to say they usually go to Moscow to shop. Let's change that. This project addresses a dire need we have because of outdated infrastructure. We have this opportunity funding to take care of it. Let's not lose that. We're going to have to replace those 100-year pipes sometime. Let's do it now. I'm asking council members to please have forward vision and act with wisdom and faith. Let's not live in fear of what will happen to our businesses. Instead, let's work together to help them prosper through it. I'm certainly on board to help make that happen. By now, next year, we can have a downtown that has a new lease on life. I'm excited for that, and I'm excited for Pullman's future. Let's do it.
Thank you. Next.
My name's Melinda Beasley, and I'm an owner of a property 245 Main Street and a past owner at 315 Main Street. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the Downtown Improvement Project. I recognize the significant efforts on both part of the city and the staff and members of council. I applaud you. Excuse me. There are two big issues with resonate with. I suffered years ago showing a house. I damaged my face. I had to have my teeth replaced. I had surgery on my arm. Now when I walk downtown, I find myself only looking down. For us older types, falling is a scary thing. In closing, I was raised in Pullman. I'm a Pullman High School graduate, the Gladish vision. I'll be WSU grad as well. In all these years, 2 generations, with the exception of downtown improvements by the private sector, improvements by the city of Pullman community have been limited to traffic revisions, upgrades in street lights, addition of trees, planters, banners, holiday lighting, and the establishment
Thank you for your time.
of, I just think we need to do more for the next generation.
Thank you. Next.
Greetings, Mayor Benjamin and City Council and others here. My name is Richard McLean. I'm a resident of Pullman, and I'd like to share today's thoughts. I am in favor of the downtown Main Street project. Yes, there are many issues, many opinions, many problems with this particular situation and with this project. But the major core, the main thing that I believe we should be focusing upon is that this project be done now, this upgrade be done now, while it can be planned, while the finances are there, instead of when there's an emergency in the middle of winter or at some other time where there's flooding and where there's not the construction people, there's not the emergency workers to fix a sewer line break, a water main light, break or something that's going to cause a major upset for even possibly a longer time of having to do this in the middle of winter or another time. The infrastructure is old. It needs to be replaced. It's much wiser to make that decision in a planned way with the, all the equipment, everything planned, everything that's needed in order to do this project in a planned way. Instead of at an emergency time. At some point in time, as the other lady shared, we've had some water main leaks. At some point in time, there's going to be leaks. There's going to be a sewer problem. These pipes are old and they need to be replaced. It's much wiser to do it now in a planned way instead of later. There's also the finances to do that also now. I believe the city council should also work together with the businesses to come up with some creative ways in order to support the businesses. You know, where people sit down together and say, how can we make this work? How can we cause these businesses to be able to work during this time of this project? I believe it can be done in creative ways if everybody would sit together and figure out a way to do that. Thank you.
Thank you much. Next.
My name is Tom Thompson. I live at 415 Southeast Crestview. I've been a resident here of Pullman for 40 years, and I'd like to encourage the council to proceed with the project. There's been a number of reasons given already by people that want to do that, but I'd like to emphasize that there's no guarantee that the money will be there in the future past this year. And that means if we need to go to a plan B or C, we're going to need to really kind of do a Billy Bob or an ad hoc solution to fix Main Street and the tree and the sewer issues. And I would also ask if this passes for the council and our staff here to work with our state government. Washington State is one of the most highly taxed and also one of the most restrictive governments to do business under, and I've had a private business in the past, so that's something that I think there's opportunities to help give our local businesses some relief as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, my name is James Clark. I'm a Pullman resident for 18 years, and I'd like to voice my support for accepting the plan as proposed right now today. I agree with the previous speakers who mentioned the aging critical infrastructure. The time to repair that is now, before catastrophic failure, and I support the plan moving forward as bid. You all should accept the bid in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I'm Bryce Erickson, B&L Bicycles. I think you've all seen my letters. So anyway, I'm going to keep this very clear. 2 points. If you vote today to pull the plug on this project, I hope that there is a replacement project that comes very quickly. And I feel that if it was spread over several years, which the option was never given, we were only told one and done. And so the problem is we've got a one and done solution, and it can be very destructive to businesses. So personally, I believe that we were never presented with any options of block by block. Everybody agrees the downtown needs to be fixed up, and we all support that. However, if you vote yes, understand you now own this project, and I hope that the City Council will use every tool in its arsenal to try to protect the businesses. You're talking an 8-month project, and with a lot of unknowns, this could be a year project. So we could end up in a situation where a lot of us go out of business. And I think that I've been here for 28 years. We've seen the downtown kind of rebound over the years, and I would hate to see that destroyed. So it's in your hands. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Next.
The bid does not comply with our urban forestry code by failing to encourage the preservation, expansion, protection, and maintenance of community trees. It violates our protection of trees code. All trees located in the public right-of-way shall be protected during all construction or excavation work. It disrespects removal, replacement, and maintenance code. No tree growing within the public right-of-way shall be removed without the approval of the municipal arborist. Approved replacement trees will be required to be planted. It violates definition and retention of significant tree codes that state significant trees shall be retained to the maximum extent possible. Not only does the contract remove 58 significant trees. It replaces only 51 trees and 35 street tree planting system. How will the other 16 trees be planted? Why does the contract only replace 51, not 58 trees? The contract states maintenance period 12 months. However, this violates tree restoration code, which requires a maintenance period of 2 years. Bid contracts violates RCW 7615, urban forestry management is what RCW is based on. The legislature finds that preservation and enhancement of city trees and urban forests contributes multiple benefits, including stormwater management, carbon sequestration, local air and water quality enhancements, and is a cost-effective way to meet these obligations. The legislature further finds that climate change is impacting our state in numerous ways, all of which can be improved by increased tree canopy. Based on these code infractions and state regulations, I'm urging City Council members to vote no. Why should you, the council, approve a contract that violates our city codes? How can we, the public, trust a government that breaks our own rules?
Thank you for your time. And we have you state your name just so we have it for record, please. Thank you, Marcia.
Hello, my name is Alex Wojtowicz, and I own It's Pullman in downtown Pullman. As a resident of the vibrant community, I stand before you today to express my deep dissatisfaction with the handling of the downtown Pullman project. This project, intended to revitalize our downtown area, was meant to breathe new life into our community, but instead has left many of us feeling neglected and unheard. It's disheartening to see the potential of our town squandered by mismanagement and a lack of accountability. We were assured that this project would be a collaborative effort with the input of residents and local businesses at its core. But instead, decisions seem to have been made behind closed doors, leaving us feeling marginalized and voiceless. The project has been changed from a 3-month project to now a 6 to 7 month project. We businesses in downtown are now left floundering to save double the amount of money with only 3 months of notice. And this notice wasn't even given by the city. It was given by concerned citizens. Why are citizens having to fulfill the promises made by the city of good communication? If this project was only going to last 3 months, then my business would have barely been able to stay afloat with minimal loans, as the city is not offering any assistance. Instead, with a 6 to 7 month schedule, my business will have to close permanently because losing out on an extra 3 to 4 months of business and still having to pay bills like rent and others puts me behind for upwards 2 years. I would rather take my business elsewhere where the city will actually listen to its constituents. It's time for transparency, accountability, and genuine community engagement. We cannot afford to let this project continue on its current trajectory, ignoring the concerns and needs of those it was meant to serve. We need a revitalization effort that truly reflects the desires and aspirations of the people who call Pullman home. I urge local officials and project leaders to listen to the voices of the community, to address our concerns, and to work collaboratively towards a downtown we can all be proud of. Together, let's ensure the downtown project fulfills its purpose of revitalization and becomes a beacon of hope, not one of decline and ruin of those it was meant to help.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, I'm Meek Slifer, and I'm here to ask you about your legacy. Stephen Vincent Benet wrote an epic poem with this line: "The trees in the streets are old trees, used to living with people. Family trees that remember your grandfather's name." Sadly, there's no chance we in Pullman will ever enjoy trees like that in our downtown streets, not if our city insists on chopping them down just as they reach their mature prime of life. But let's talk a bit of cost-benefit analysis here. Apollo bid nearly $250,000 just to plant and establish new trees for 1 year only. That doesn't count the next 20 years of care and maintenance to grow them to maturity. That cost is only a tiny fraction of the real cost of losing the current trees. They are dozens of environmental benefits that mature shade trees provide in urban spaces. Most of us have some idea of what those are. But here's the catch. Trees must be mature, 15 to 20 years old at least, to provide those benefits and to recoup the planting and maintenance costs incurred to grow them to that size. Small young trees cannot do the same job. It takes time, something the city refuses to recognize. A Forest Service study showed the average street tree provides $135,000 in environmental benefits over its lifetime. Our healthy ash trees could have another 15 years. That means each tree can still offer us $45,000 of benefits. But you want to remove 58 of those. That's $2.6 million of environmental benefits the city just throw away. So what's your legacy going to be? You're a new council body. Please use your fresh vision to revise this plan to actually respond to our concerns. Take the time to do this project over 2 years and to preserve as many existing trees as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, may I approach the bench over here?
If you give it to staff, staff will provide it to us. That way we can keep the conversation going. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Russo. I've lived in Pullman for 15 years. I'm on faculty at WSU, and my specialization is in the environmental humanities. I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to comment. Thank you, Councilor Person Delira, and everyone else, because when I spoke last week at the meeting, I was not prepared to speak. Yet I spoke, I was moved to speak because I felt like there's a large part of the discussion that was being left out. We are very good as a culture analyzing biophysical facts and fiscal needs. We're not so good at talking about socio-cultural aspects of being a community, of being in community with the more than human world. We really lack a language for that, and that's why I get emotional. It's hard for me to find the words. I'll do my best. So I gave you that handout. Biophilia is the concept that there is an innate love of nature that we as humans share. We have turned to nature since the dawn of time for our physical and psychological needs, and the physical and psychological benefits of being in green spaces are well documented. Now, these benefits to individual and community, as the last two bullet points, quotes on my sheet show. Trees enhance the quality of life, and they foster belonging in community. So going forward, I would like the council to consider the significance for the future of modeling care for community in your actions, of acknowledging the importance of interacting with and caring for the natural world. Don't kill trees that can be preserved. And those trees, I think, will play a role in transition to a shockingly changed downtown landscape.
Thank you very much. Next.
Hello, Council, and thank you. From the inception of Project Downtown Pullman through most of 2022, I believed all was in good hands. By the latter part of 2022, that faith had faltered. I'd seen firsthand during COVID, as a small business, you had to truly understand the mechanics of the federal programs yourself. You didn't just rely on the banker or the CPA. And I suspected this is no different. The mistakes made then are completely understandable given the circumstances. I think everyone involved has nothing to be ashamed of prior to 2023. 2023 is a different story. There's plenty to be ashamed of. In February 2023, when council assented to a timeline that would crush us, my faith that we were in good hands was seriously shaken. I mobilized, many in this room had already mobilized. In the face of being pit against each other, tree people versus ADA people versus business people versus the broader community, instead we grew together, worked together, banded together, learned from one another, and fought tooth and claw to get things back on track. We were told it's okay, it's all in good hands this time. Go have a seat, leave it to the pros. We'll be back in the fall with a new plan and bring it in 4 months. It'll be awesome. Sit this one out. We knew, of course, how that worked out. Meanwhile, we hadn't sat it out. We'd asked for technical questions, got rhetorical answers, not allowed access to city staff that can answer questions of finance, engineering, law. The message was being managed and the tactics were rotten. The women, and it was almost all women, got the worst of it. Obfuscation, placations, threats, false dichotomies, representations. We could see a culture stoked for city staff that downtown is all after them, attacking them. I'd ask council members, how's it felt for you? Have any of you felt like I have? Gold, led down a narrow path, misinformed, disenfranchised, told to fall in line or sit this one out? I'm not repeating 2023. This has to change. I'll fight. The people with us will fight to get this done right. I don't know anyone here who doesn't want to see work start this summer. Not everyone in this room knows there's alternatives on how to proceed this summer, but council and staff do. Thank you. I have a handout from Bob Cady. Can I hand that in?
If you provide staff.
Thank you.
Okay, next.
Hi, I'm Amy Ratliff. I've lived in Pullman over 20 years, and I'm a mom raising kids, and kids that right now have a vision to live here and raise kids here too, which is exciting to me. I don't know the future, but I felt like it was important to say that I appreciate what you're doing. I don't think there are many people that would like to sit in your seats right now because this is a big decision that impacts a lot of people, and many of those people are represented in this room, and many of those people are not represented in this room. And when we voted you into your position, we knew you'd have to make hard decisions, and we realize it's a hard decision, and we thank you for considering the needs. I think it should be acknowledged that you've done a lot to hear many positions and many people. I think that should be acknowledged. And whatever decision is made today, we thank you for considering who is here and who is not here, which includes people like my kids that are going to be here for a really long time. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment?
My name is Roger Johnson. I've been a resident of Pullman for 70 years. I've been in business downtown for 43, so I've been there a while. And I personally am really tired of our Main Street being a de facto high-speed downtown bypass. And I would like to see that change. So I'm totally in support of this project. I realize there are problems, and I'm hoping that he will work with everybody and try to ease those. So yes, I would like to see this project go through.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment?
Hi, my name is John White. I'm the current head chef at the Black Cypress, and I'm here speaking for myself and on behalf of my staff. I've been a resident here for 3 years, and I feel it's my civic duty to come here, voice my concerns as well. Pullman is set to change largely and rapidly in the coming years, and I'd love to see it as a smooth transition. And I really hope that you are listening to what's most important here. I am personally in favor of Main Street construction, as most of the community is. It's the way you're choosing to execute the project and the severe lack of communication that you're getting backlash for. The need for urgency is understood. Our infrastructure is decades behind, and we get that. While it's a failure of the city to wait this long in the first place, it's too late to wait any longer. But why not listen to professionals who have been so vocal with you about alternative options and ideas to support the decision, but in a more intelligent, commonsensical, logical, and more efficient way? Split the project up into 2 years. It sounded like the best idea to me, and I thought that was what was going to happen in the beginning. Or we could incrementally close Main Street so the sections stay open. Lastly, and I want to end with this, it is your job and duty as our city council officials to serve the community for the betterment of our city. You serve us because we elected you. You should be going out into the community to canvass, communication, and support our population. Instead, you're making it feel like a requirement to come to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next.
My name is Roran Ford. I own a ramen downtown on Grand Avenue. I started my business in 2019 by putting everything I had into the place, taking out a bunch of credit card debt and borrowing some from a friend. A year into owning the business, along with most businesses downtown, I was shut down to a global pandemic. As a relatively new business, I didn't even have a solid base of regular customers to rely on. During that shutdown, I kept my business open by working lunch and dinner service every day. I worked lunch with one employee and dinner with another employee. Some relief came in the form of government loans. I was able to consolidate my debt into a loan with much better terms. I had some money to put into the restaurant. We bought a noodle machine and stepped up our game and hoped for better days around the corner. At O Ramen, we just make the noodles. We make nearly all of the food with our hands, our hearts, and our time. For a business, that means high labor, and in this town, high cost of training. For my place, an infrastructure plan that disrupts and impacts the entire downtown core for not merely one summer where business is already quite slow, but rather disrupts customers for closer to 8 months, including 3 of the busiest months, feels like a big step back into the bleaker days of COVID. That means making decisions about what staff that we've been training to keep up with a busy spring season don't get to work. It means mopping to open the restaurant and clean the dish pit every single day we're open. All the while, wondering if we have enough money to service the debt and the bills. It means going from an unstable, uncertain position to starting training a new staff again. Everybody in this room wants more infrastructure. We're all agreed on that. For the business owners, we just want our businesses to be a part of the new downtown. And for me, it's pretty uncertain with a project like this. I think there's a way to get both things. I don't think the plans on your table today are that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next.
Hi, I'm Kathy DeFleming, and my husband and I own 236, 238 East Main Street and have our business downtown since 1990. And I want to say I have communicated with all of you, so I have spelled out my concerns specifically related to healthcare and HIPAA, which are very concerning with some of the access. But more importantly, I do think this plan in theory is great. But we don't live in a magical bubble world where we can snap our fingers and fast forward and have it be done. And that said, my concern is the lack of specific details spelled out on how you're going to help businesses. For example, I've heard from some, well, we're thinking of busing people into downtown Pullman. Well, I know for our business, someone parking a mile away and having transportation to downtown Pullman for an eye exam, it is not going to work. And I think some of these ideas need to be put in place, how you're going to help businesses fund some of the signage and rerouting that's going to happen, tax relief that needs to happen if our businesses are impacted. I do think this plan has value, but it is misguided with lack of details on how you're going to help businesses at this time. So like Bryce Erickson, the Hodges, Melinda Beasley, Jonathan White have said, I think this is a great plan, but we need a different plan. So at this point, I strongly suggest, as Hodges said, vote with your heart. Let's come up with a new plan for a different plan in the future that can be beneficial to us all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon. Thank you for meeting with all of us today. I want to say just a few comments. This is a 50-year plan. This is a big deal. This is one of the most transformative things that we will have done in Pullman in a very long time, and it needs to be taken extremely seriously, so thank you for being with us. This is also a historic moment. It's historic, near, as I can say, the amount of dissatisfaction that's in this room and in the community. That's a problem. If you award this low bid today, or either way, whether you award it or you don't award it, what I would like to hear is that you will meet with individual business owners and community members and seek some solutions to the problems in this plan that are inherent in the plan. The bulk of the problems in the plan are in the landscaping. They're on the surface. They're in the things that we see. We need some assurance that we'll find some solutions. There's main topics in this. The first is the timeline, 1 year versus 2 years. I think you need to listen to the business owners. They know what they're talking about. They know their metrics. The second is the landscape design, and my recommendation, as I spoke last week, was delete all the landscape, well, I said cut them back. Delete the landscape beds. Just get rid of them. They're a lot of money. What we want is wider sidewalks, basic traditional slab sidewalks so that we can activate those spaces. We can have outdoor seating. We can create outdoor dining on many throughout the year. So stay out of Pine Street Plaza and then delete the clay pavers and pervious concrete at the bulb outs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're down to the last 5 people that signed up. If you could please make sure you're in line so we can keep moving forward. And next.
Hi, I'm Grace Navarrete. I have been a part of this community for the past 5 years. I'm here to give representation to the workers who will be affected by this and the next generation of this city. I have been a part of this, I have seen many people I've worked for and with here, and it tears my heart to think that they may not survive through this shutdown or be burdened with more loans. Because of this lack of canvassing and misguided research in this project, I fear it will happen. I want you to think about the long-term consequences. There's an issue of staffing. It is already so difficult to staff here, and the turnover is constant. But for a six-month close, we cannot expect to keep any current employees, and that makes reopening twice difficult for many. City Council, I implore you to listen to your community and consider the issues listed. The community that has been here for years, the community that has been asking you to listen to them, the community that is going to suffer from your consequences, and the community that may not be here after this because of your shortcomings. Think critically about what you're going to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next.
Good afternoon. I'm Banush Armani. There are several issues here. One, our citizen groups are the ones who have spent hundreds of hours to research, ask questions, meet with city officials, and educate city staff because they chose, and educate city staff because city staff chose not to do their own research. They simply went along with Welch-Comer, misinforming them about this project. And now we have to pay our community has to pay the consequences. The other issue is the project timeline, as several people have mentioned. First it was 3 months, then 4 months, then 6 months, now 8 months, probably longer. As all the business owners have mentioned already, this is going to impact them greatly. Majority of them will go out of business. If this is your legacy, then you got to think about it more than once or twice. There has been no financial assistance offered to our business owners. These businesses are in dire need to just survive on a daily basis. And going along with, who knows, 6 or 8 or 12 months, we won't have a downtown. Motley offered to do this project over 2 summers. Well, they were told no. And, obviously he's a local business and he was definitely caring about what was going to happen. So I urge you to please take everything that we have said into consideration and vote with your heart. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon. My name's Ray Preston. My wife Blake and I own Etsy Bravo on Main Street, going on 9 years of business. When I received the business survey that went out about a month or so ago with the data that everybody has seen at this point, at first a little hesitant. Though it's anonymous, it didn't feel good to share how tight business has been. Seeing the results, there was some initial relief. Oh, it's for everybody, not just us. That relief, however, was followed quickly by dread of the bigger picture for our town and community. The bigger picture as it stands now is pretty grim. The majority of downtown businesses, including mine, are here saying without a doubt, we won't be able to survive the plan as it stands. While I don't think there's a person in this room that could say downtown Pullman doesn't need an upgrade, I think clear there are logical and viable alternatives to the current plan that won't be terminal for our downtown businesses. Thanks for your time and consideration.
Thank you. I have 3 people that signed in but have not spoken. Do either of you choose? If not, then I'm closing the public comment time. Thank you very much for everybody who has provided public comment over the years of this project and for today. Next, we move on to the agenda. This is resolution number R0824, resolution accepting the bid of Apollo Inc. for the Pullman Downtown Improvement Project and authorizing execution and delivery of the contract for said project. With that, I turn it over to staff and Clayton. If you
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, City Council. We all know we're here to consider the Project Downtown contract and the award to the lowest responsible bidder. As a brief reminder, for those present here today and those watching from home, the Pullman Downtown Improvements contract generally consists of improvements to East Main Street from Grand Avenue to Spring Street, including water, sewer, and storm drain utility work, full road and sidewalk reconstruction, traffic and pedestrian signal construction, landscaping, and street furniture. Bids for the project were originally opened on November 30th last year. No bids were received. The project then rescoped to include a longer contract time and higher incentives for early completion. 4 bids, this project was re-advertised and 4 bids were received on January 25th. All 4 bids were thoroughly reviewed and determined to be responsive, and the low bidder is Apollo Incorporated, and they are based out of Kennewick, Washington. Included in your packet, you will find the bid results and the bid tabulations for each of the 4 bids, along with the engineer's estimate. In summary, Apollo Incorporated's base bid total is $8,678,000, $907.59. This is 11% above the engineer's estimate. In the council pack documents, you will see that the bid proposal included various bid additives for work that could be added to the base bid contract work, or could be split out and completed at a later date. The council can award any combination of the bid additives, and there is no obligation to award any of the bid additives. For the benefit, again, for those attending today and those watching from home, those bid additives are as follows. Bid additive number 1 consists of the purchase and installation of benches. Bid additive number 2 consists of the purchase and installation of trash receptacles. Bid additive number 3 consists of the purchase and installation of bicycle racks. Bid additive number 4 consists of the purchase and installation of raised rectangular planter boxes. Bid additive number 5 was not used. Bid additive number 6 includes work at Pine Street Plaza and consists of 2 schedules of work, Schedule A and Schedule B, plus 1 alternate, either alternate A, B, or C. And a whole additive number 6 includes replacing the sanitary sewer main and upsizing the stormwater utility main line in the plaza, along with the necessary landscaping and irrigation repair work triggered by the utility. The 3 alternates that I mentioned, A, B, or C, provide a menu of options to choose from regarding how the plaza is resurfaced above these utility lines. Alternate A provides for gray concrete surfacing, alternate B provides for new paver surfacing, and alternate C provides for reusing the existing pavers. And the last bid, additive number 7, consists of providing and installing wayfinding signs and kiosks on Main Street. Following an in-depth review, staff determined that the submitted bids and the submitted prices from Apollo Incorporated are reflective of the actual price to complete the project, and that their low bid is fair and representative of the project work. The project schedule allows the contractor to start as early as April 1st, with a substantial completion deadline of November 1st. In addition, the contract includes a set milestone where Main Street shall be fully open to traffic no later than October 15th. An incentive of $5,000 per day can be earned by the contractor if they open Main Street prior to October 15th. And the maximum allowed incentive is $100,000. The project was originally proposed to be funded entirely with American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, federal funds. Those funds total just north of $9.5 million. To date, all project costs are estimated at about $11.7 million, absent any of those bid additives. This includes the $1.8 million already spent to date, plus Apollo Incorporated's $8.68 million base bid, plus a $100,000 contingency, plus the remaining contract that is necessary to fund the construction phase service, which are estimated at $1.15 million. Given the gap in funding, staff worked together with the finance director and city administrator, whom identified options to provide additional funding sources necessary to move forward with awarding the contract to Apollo Incorporated today and awarding a subsequent construction phase services contract at a future council meeting. Thus, a potential project budget summary was prepared and included in your council packet. It is important to note that use of these additional funding sources would not negatively affect current city operations, nor unnecessarily delay planned projects. If council awards the contract today, a budget amendment will be prepared and brought to council for further discussion and final approval at a future council meeting. So in summary, the resolution before you today has been prepared to award the downtown improvements contract to Apollo Incorporated. The resolution has been prepared in such a way that council has full flexibility to award any combination of bid additives in addition to the base bid. Staff is seeking a decision today from council regarding the base bid contract and then each of those bid additives. That concludes my presentation, and I now turn this item back to you for council action. Myself and other staff are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Clayton Forsman. So the next part, what I'd like to do is first, if there's any questions council members have of staff related to the bid, and then once that's done, we would then move into then discussion around the project. So are there any questions for staff with that? Councilmember Weller, and then Guido.
So, question. We had heard about the 2 summer option. Is that something that Apollo would be able to do if that's, is it possible?
The current contract not include an option to work the project over 2 summers.
Okay. So what's before us is strictly a yes or no related to this bid. Councilmember Guido?
Well, I have a question related to that, whether it's approved or not, in terms of what we're voting on today. But I would like some clarification around this question of spreading it out over 2 summers. What your thoughts are as professionals in doing that. Is that practical?
In talking with all of the contractors from the first no bid result till now, all of them indicated that spreading it out over 2 summers would cost us more money. In my professional opinion, that's not being fiscally responsible with the city's money or the ARPA money that we've been given.
Councilmember Wright?
So my question is in regard to what kind of parameters will we have in meeting with and working with the contractors in terms of really identifying what the specific operating procedures are going to be and what kind of alternatives we might have in being able to meet some certain special circumstances that have kind of been identified. Do we know at this time what the availability might be of doing some of those things?
So the contract has specific language and parameters for the contractor to follow as far as such things as signage to indicate that businesses are open. They need to coordinate for deliveries, those type of things. Pedestrian, another big component, they have to maintain pedestrian access, ADA access. Now the specifics of their plan will be determined in the future if they are awarded the contract. Does that answer your question?
Project of any type that has ever gone exactly according to plan. So there is points that the contractor and the construction management will need to pivot, and they will need to alert us as to why and what is going on, if for no other reason than just weather.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Delera?
Hi. So in the description on the agenda, it says funding or resources, additional funding resources. Are these funding resources from the city budget? And where might that may come from within the city budget, if it is the city budget.
Sure. If you refer to the downtown Pullman project cost update, you'll notice that we've identified the utility funds for water and sewer and some possibility out of the stormwater funds. And we've also looked at some other funds that have balances that would apply to this. We're trying to stay away from the general fund because of it's our regular operating fund for police, fire, library, parks, and so many of the other pieces. So there's a few funds that have some balances, and we briefed council on some of that in executive session the other night when we were talking about some pieces, so I don't get into those specific conversations because they were executive session material.
Councilmember Parks?
Thank you. My question is about Pine Street utilities. If we don't do them, then does that mean, can you define a little more what the utilities that we're speaking about and how not addressing those now would have a future, what the future impact would be, please?
Absolutely. So the utilities in Pine Street Plaza consist of a main and a storm main that are there today that need to be replaced and upsized to accommodate the stream sewer flow and the upstream stormwater flow out to the creek. In replacing those pipes, the surfacing would have to be removed, the existing surfacing that's today, and replaced. That's why there are 3 different alternates for additive 6 and picking what surface type you'd like, whether it's a concrete, new pavers, or reinstalling the existing pavers. If the project doesn't include alternate 6, then we will have put in pipes upstream that will have accommodate upstream flows for sewer and water, or sewer and storm, but then it comes into a bottleneck at that point. It doesn't fully alleviate any flooding concerns that the project's trying to alleviate or accommodate with this project. It would require us then to have a future capital project for the sewer and the stormwater at another date and disrupt the downtown core and Pine Plaza at a future date if we don't do it now. Does that answer your questions?
It does, thank you.
So any questions of council members that haven't asked yet? If not, Councilmember Guido?
I'm also just hoping for some clarification about the actual language in contract as far as the length, because we've heard 6 months, 8 months. As far as I can tell, it's 6 months, correct?
Sure, Megan, I've got some dates here. Anticipation of this question. So the contractor can begin work April 1st. The milestone I mentioned is October 15th to fully open Main Street. That's 6.5 months. Then we have a 14-day extension to the substantial completion date. So from October 15th to November 1st, the contractor has those 14 days, just beyond 14 days, to substantially complete the project. And what that means is we have full use of all components of the project. Now, from November 1st to November 22nd, those are the dates to do punch list type items, low impact items of work. So really we're looking at April 1st to October 15th, 6.5 months, and then 2 weeks to November 1st for substantially completing all work. Of course, the caveat that there are unknowns and unforeseens that could come up.
Okay, thank you. And then I have a follow-up also related to timelines. My understanding is that there is language in the contract around front door access. Could you explain that as well?
Yes, I can do that. So the contract allows impacts to facilitate limited access front door closures on a door-by-door basis to a maximum of 7 days, and they are not considered consecutive. It's just a working tally of up to 7 days maximum per door. And if the contractor exceeds that, there will be liquidated damages associated with that of $1,000 per day.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions of staff? Councilmember Jalera?
Yeah, I guess kind of like a follow on Pine Street Plaza, which I understand is a bid additive that's being recommended. Is it possible to do Pine Street Plaza as its own standalone project?
We haven't arranged the bid to do that as a standalone project at this time.
Are there any other questions of staff? Councilmember Weller?
Include fire acts. You know, I know Lily Beast doesn't have a back entrance. Can you speak to why, or do we have an actual set, solid remediation plan? And if we don't, is that something that is actually done more with the construction company than just on our own?
Can you give us an explanation of what you mean by a remediation plan?
So something along the lines of a document, let's say a document. We're facing this project, the downtown project. Which addresses have, you know, back entrance, 2 entrances? Which ones are going to be affected by health code violations, for instance, restaurants, that if they use their back entrance, that might be an issue. So a lot of this information, I know a lot of groups have asked, why don't we have a more solid plan? And it seems like it's kind of a free-flowing gray area. And what I can determine is that a lot of the plans need to come together if and when we accept a bid, because then we're working with the construction company and the businesses. Does that make any sense?
It does, and what you're describing is what we've been working on as a parking and access plan, and it would fit into that as opposed to whatever remediation might mean. And staff has been working, towards a final conclusion on that, but we cannot complete our draft of a plan until we have a contractor and construction manager on board to help fill in the holes on the last of the pieces. So we have been meeting. There are a lot of pieces that are out there and ready to be assembled with the assistance of a contractor once selected and a construction management once selected, that we'll be able to have these conversations.
Okay, and I just have 2 more questions, if it pleases the mayor, if that's okay. Now, there's a lot of questions around change orders. So I know we've discussed this, for instance, when we were discussing the trees. Some of the trees that were chosen, some groups have explained that they aren't appropriate for the area, and they've asked if those could be changed. From my understanding, that's a change order, and there are a few other items that are change orders. How would that take place if the bid was accepted today?
Any change order would be a negotiation with the contractor, and we'd have to consider things like availability of plants, in your case here, soil impacts, and the like. But any change order to the contract opens the door for negotiations with the contractor, and there is that opportunity to do that.
Okay, just one last question. With the ARPA funds, and I know this has been something that has been thrown around, there's been a lot of questions as far as redesign. Now, could you speak a little bit to the challenges of redesign if this bid is not accepted today? All right, baby shark in the house. Could you speak a little bit about the timeline of a redesign if it was to take place, and the possibility of continuing increase in construction prices and planning?
Sure, I can handle them. Or do you want to handle that?
Go ahead.
In handling a redesign, any redesign, we would need to figure out what needs to be redesigned. So what is the change in scope that needs to happen? Is it a change in material type, distance? Is it timing? We have to find the scope. So we then have to go back then to our design team and pay them more money to do that, which is going to cost time, dollars as well. And define then out of that scope, what does that look like in the back end? Are we doing this over a 2-year period? Do we need to have 2 different contracts? Or is it one contract that spans 2 years? We would put it back out to bid at probably an inopportune time to get the best results for that contractor. There's no guarantee then that we would get bids for that revised project. So it's a gamble. It's a very big risk. And contractors are very leery of risk. So for a contract this year to bid a price with an unforeseen knowing of what's happening 2 years out, the price of asphalt goes up, the price of trees, the availability of trees can't come into play. It's very risky for the contractor. They will in turn then increase their prices to accommodate risk that they're putting themselves into.
In addition to that, any change in the existing project would need to be revisited by the Department of Transportation for approval.
Councilmember Guido?
I apologize. Clayton, if you would mind just repeating what you talked about, because I didn't follow it because of the cell phone, in terms of change orders for the benefit of everyone to understand how that works.
Sure, there is always an opportunity. A change order is a change to what the contractor bid. So there is an opportunity if there's to maybe save money or to change one component or multiple components of the project. Those can be presented to the contractor. The contractor then has the opportunity to negotiate. You're basically opening a negotiation with them to have them price whatever that change may be. And you need to consider things like availability, schedule impacts, and the like.
Okay. Just a follow-up question. In terms of the role of the project manager, I think part of what I have been hearing is that citizens want input where they can on the design, and we are quite far down the road. But if there is an opportunity for citizens to provide input to the project manager at some point, is that possible?
That's a real tough question to answer. I would like to absolutely have a meeting to allow for that input, but when do we cut it off? At what point in the process if there's change orders and change orders and change orders and we want to keep a schedule, I would ask the council for guidance. At what point would you like to say this is a place where we need to go forward with the project as it's currently designed? Otherwise, that could be an issue for dragging on. So I would defer the council for guidance on that.
So is there any last questions for staff? Councilmember DeLera?
Yeah, so timeline is the one thing that seems to be scaring a lot of people. But in terms of where contractors are at in terms of showing interest on the 5,000 a day incentive, have any of them voiced a desire to go after that?
I don't think they really give us an idea that I think absolutely they want it, and as the project goes along, whether it becomes realizable or not, there's free money out there if they can get done early, plus they can get onto another project. So I think all the contractors who bid on this would be very interested on it. It's whether it becomes feasible or not with all the things that happen between now and those 20 days that we're incentivizing. So I believe there is interest.
Okay, with that, I'd like to open it up for council. It says we have this resolution that's before us, and in order to start discussion on it, I would welcome an initial motion related to it in order to open the discussion. Is there a discussion? Councilor Wright?
I'll just go ahead and do it, tear the Band-Aid off wound here. I move to authorizing awarding contract 23-10, Pullman Downtown Improvement to Apollo Incorporated.
And with that are you including any of the bid alternatives at this time?
As part of the base bid?
So is this a base bid?
This would be
Okay.
just for the base bid to open discussion.
So the open discussion, would there be a second related to the base bid?
Second.
Okay, so second. So as part of this discussion, so this is an opportunity for us in order to have the discussion around, first we have a motion that is for the base bid. As a part of the discussion, amendments can be made if someone wants to add, make a amendment to change the motion, and that would be if there's a particular one of these add-ons that you'd like to add. So with that, open for discussion around the. Councilmember Fajarin?
Yes, I'll open it up. I have some prepared remarks just due to the importance of the vote we had today, and so I'm going to be reading from the remarks that I have. Thank you. Today, as we stand at significant crossroads for our city, I want to just first extend my sincere gratitude to our staff. Your dedication and tireless efforts in advancing the Pullman Downtown project has not gone unnoticed. Your commitment embodies the spirit of service and community that we cherish in Pullman, so I just wanted to thank you for that. I also want to acknowledge our downtown businesses. Your engagement and forthright communication has been instrumental in shaping our understanding to the project impact, and I've listened intently to your concerns and agree that a thriving downtown is not just desirable, but it's essential for the growth of Pullman. As we envision the transformation of downtown from a large town to a small city, it really is crucial that the journey ahead be paved with decisions that reflect our collective aspirations, uphold our financial prudence, and foster a sense of communal well-being. After careful consideration, I must personally express my reservations. Project Downtown Pullman, while ambitious, does not fully align with our current financial realities and the needs of our community. It is essential that our growth is balanced, inclusive, and reflective of all the voices of the stakeholders. I will be voting no on awarding the project bid in its current form. This is not a step back, but a stride towards ensuring that when we do move forward, we do so for the right fit for Pullman. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Councilmember Wright.
So I have a couple of comments. I have something to read, and then I do have some personal remarks as well. First off, last week I was misquoted as having said that this is just an infrastructure project. I never said that this was just an infrastructure project, but only the basis of what this project needs to start with. Because if we don't address the infrastructure, then all the rest is just window dressing and will just not happen. So we do absolutely have to address that. And with that, I am going to read something that was sent to me as well as all of the council, but I think that it is important enough to make it part of today's record. And that is, again, in regard to infrastructure. The email states, "We urge you and the rest of the City Council to do the responsible thing and accept a bid for the downtown project today. There is no downtown without a healthy infrastructure. Your vote will assure that the downtown area is available for generations to come. We have every reason to believe that the infrastructure is dangerously fragile. No one wants downtown closed to do the necessary work, but refusal to do so now will result in an emergency situation at some point in the future, probably the near future, as the infrastructure fails. At that point, the closure will be immediate and indefinite. Further, the ARPA dollars will have been returned and the city will have to foot the whole bill. Now, the council and the residents of Pullman should turn our focus to supporting the downtown businesses during construction. We ask that you stand courageously against the handful of angry voices that would have you delay the project and ultimately kill downtown. It seems today you are standing alone. Please know that we many other Pullmanites, and the future residents stand with you. Thank you for your work. And this was sent by Doug Habib and Becky Dubin. With that having been said, I'm not going to mention one more thing relative to infrastructure. And I think those of you that know me and have watched me over the years know that I don't comment just for the sake of commenting. I try to make a comment whenever I feel that it will add value to whatever the current discussion is that we're having. So these comments that I'm going to make now come from my heart. It may seem like it's coming from a wallet, in some cases it might be, but it truly is coming from the heart. And like Eric, I wanted to make sure that all my salient points were covered, so I have actually prepared these comments. I have lived in Pullman since 1975, and over the years have seen Pullman become a growing and successful community. Pullman is recognized for educational excellence, having access to education, exceptional health care through Pullman Regional Hospital and our amazing medical community, having a vibrant and growing business complex anchored predominantly by SEL and a variety of other entities contributing to the commercial landscape of Pullman. And last but not least, extraordinary citizens. A strong relationship with WSU has been developed through ongoing communication and collaboration with administration, faculty, staff, and students. Someone from the outside might ask, what's left? Downtown has long been a source of discussion, characterized mainly by these remarks. It's ugly, there's nothing for kids, there's nothing to do, there's no parking. When I have visitors, I never bring them downtown. Obviously, downtown is the one area that keeps Pullman from achieving greatness. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity has presented itself to change that, thus enabling Pullman to make that leap from good to great. Resistance to this project has been voiced by segments of our community who fear businesses will be financially destroyed, tree canopy eliminated, pedestrian safety sacrificed, and accessibility denied. Concerns have been heard, alternatives have been studied, and hundreds of hours have been invested in listening to and evaluating citizens and special interest groups' comments. It's clear, no project is perfect, and pleasing everyone all the time is impossible, just as timing is never the best, but our singular option at this time is to proceed with this plan. Since being a member of the Pullman City Council, clearly, this is the most difficult decision with which I have been faced. As a city council member, it is my responsibility to help make policy decisions for the city, to keep our citizens safe and secure, and to be a good steward of taxpayer dollars. Moving forward ensures that these responsibilities are carried out, and most importantly, positions Pullman for future success as it transitions, as Eric said, and also as Nathan Weller has said, as it transitions from a large town to a small city. Fears and rumors are only assumptions that surround this project. Once the contractor's bid is awarded, those are dropped, and plans, timelines, and strategies can start to be developed and executed. The city is prepared to mitigate the impact of the project on the primary stakeholders, the public and Main Street businesses. And success in that is built on working together, and we have a lot of work to do in that regard. Communication on all levels is of primary importance and will occur regularly in all formats: in-person visits, print, social media, emails, verbal presentations, and town halls. Hindsight, as we know, is always 20/20. We know communication will be ongoing throughout the course of this project, and as a council member, I am committed to its success and efforts to mitigate negative impact on all involved. Yes, I am a member of the City Council, but first and foremost, I am a citizen of Pullman who desires to do the right thing for the right reason for the continued success and future of Pullman. Thank you.
Other comments? Councilor Guido?
Well, like Councilmember Wright, I am a proud Pullmanite, moved here in 1976 from upstate New York when I was in 5th grade, and very familiar with the downtown. Main reason why I even decided to run as a council person because of the importance of this project. I do also, like Councilmember Wright, have some comments, if you would indulge me. The council has been called negligent if we vote to approve this bid. I believe as public officials tasked with storing the basic utilities that residents expect in a city, that it would be negligent not to. We've already experienced multiple water main breaks and a sewer backup in at least one downtown business. What postponing a large project to upgrade and replace an 80-plus-year-old infrastructure accomplish? There is never going to be a good time to do this. The design may not be what everyone wants, but it's solid. We need to realize that we have a limited amount of ARPA and city funds to account for any changes. Postponing the project and paying for a redesign is not practical. We've already spent over $1.5 million on design and other management of the project so far. A redesign would eat into what we have left. I know folks say just write grants, but grants are never a guarantee, quite far from it. We need to move ahead on a necessary project while working to assist our downtown businesses with loans and other financial means like fundraising campaign. In the long run, this pain, I believe, will be worth it. We have to work together, though, and not this be a divisive project. If you want to save downtown Pullman, get on board and shop local and help make this project successful.
Councilmember Parks.
Thank you. I'm not going to talk about everything that's been said because I agree with much of it. What I want to talk about is everyone mentioned heart. We are all public service up here. We're not here because we don't have heart. We're not here because we don't care. These professionals down here, they're not here because they don't care. They're highly trained professionals who could make a lot more money in the private sector, and yet they choose to serve here. So I would like to just make that point that we do care. That's why we're here. And we are committed to supporting the businesses. And the biggest way to do that is, as you all have suggested, and now we need to do it, is to work together and stop the divisiveness and stop the negative comments. Whatever decision is made, then we need to work together. And I'm telling you that as a board and as a staff, that's what we're here to do, if you believe it or not. But that is truly why public servants serve. Thank you.
Councilmember Dara?
Yeah, I also prepared a statement. Thanks. I just want to say thank you, everyone on city staff, for having put countless hours on this project. I know on top of the daily operations of the city, this has been a lot of stress and work, and I know I'm understating the work that went to this, so please know I do appreciate the work you've done. So over the last weeks, basically as soon as I started this position, it became apparent that I need to very quickly talk to the stakeholders of this project on their most recent thoughts around the project, especially in the light of the 6-month extension. I needed to make sure that I was prepared to have an informed vote, and I needed to start with those who would be directly impacted on a daily basis. Over the last few weeks, I have talked to many businesses downtown and have attempted to make contact with close to all of them through on-site business visits and phone calls. I have talked to business owners, their employees, and concerned community members who support them. And I've definitely heard a wide range of thoughts, and it was a really great way for me to get connected with the community. Overall, it's been a mix of senses, which range from excitement to worry, and a mix of both. However, one of the things that became apparent in my conversation in downtown is the lack of communication they have received. A lot of prominent patterns came up in my conversations, concerned about how their businesses will be impacted financially, how will they get customers, whether a business will go out of business, whether an employee will still have their job, and how their thoughts and ideas were not implemented when they were engaged in the process. I cannot, in good faith, advocate for this project as it currently stands, because there is a disconnect between key stakeholders of the project and the way the project stands in its current state. I will vote to reject the bids because we need to actively seek out communications with stakeholders where they are at and take a look at the ideas of those who have been actively engaged. I'm also very much concerned about the impacts of not able to afford this project, since we still need to use city resources to make up for the difference. I need more time to know the financial impacts on our city beyond just downtown businesses. I am not against improvements in infrastructure, and I realize that there is a risk to every project of this size. Wherever this vote goes, I'm ready to make sure that the community has my support, because a lot of work will start right away after this day. Thank you.
Councilmember Weller?
Did you? Okay. So there's been a lot of comments made. Before I came here today, not only did I walk my dog and lift, I meditated. Thank you, Tremaine, for always encouraging that. And walked downtown, the entire stretch, from Ghost to Sanctuary and back, both sides. So along this way, and I did cry it out, was one of the pavers sitting in the tree well, right around where Etsy Bravo is. I'll probably have to give it back to you, Clayton. When this project began, it was walkways, and we knew we needed to do the infrastructure. Look, I'm going to continue going downtown whether this bid is accepted or not. I'm going to continue going with my family to Mila and Scoozy and Black Cypress, having meetings at Pups and Cups and, you know, all sorts of different places. Whether this goes forward or not doesn't, you know, that's not going to affect it for me. What does affect things is something my mom told me, and she said, I'd like to go down to Neil's, but there's no one is going to be fully happy, and everyone is going to face a difficult change as we try to work together for a better downtown and future for the city of Pullman, which we all want. You know me, you know my record. I've advocated for the trees in the original plan and taking a pause on the plan for a year to help businesses prepare for the project, which we did. I have met in phone, Zoom, in person, day and night with individuals and groups for years, ranging in topics from saving the downtown trees, save downtown businesses, biking advocacy, Pine Street Plaza concerns, handicap parking, grant ideas, and others. I have brought your concerns, your questions to city staff, Mayor Welch-Comer. These ideas, research, and suggestions have resulted in significant improvements in the project and helped to broaden my knowledge while also providing unique solutions the city can utilize in this and future projects. Unfortunately, we have also found several challenges that we must address, ranging in issues from communication to transparency and process, and the list can go on. Currently, there is a lot of fear and uncertainty made more problematic by the lack of a solid plan, which I asked today about, which will be finalized if or when we decide to award the bid. Throughout this process, we have had retirements of department heads and staff, along with new council members and mayor, which can make this even more challenging. It's important to know that we all have the same goal, a better downtown. Now look, I can't predict the future, But I know the sidewalks need to be fixed. I know we need handicap parking. I know we need to replace the infrastructure so we don't face an emergency break without funds. I know we have the money now, and I know we have a good, not perfect plan. Furthermore, I know if we choose to push this project back again, we will face increasing costs of construction and would need to find additional money by pausing or canceling other important city projects. This is not the only one we have in the city. We might be able to apply and receive additional funding through other competitive grants. We could do a redesign and try to fit every suggestion from every group into a plan, but it is not guaranteed that all of it would be approved at the state or that would come back in time for the deadline. Now look, as a public servant, I can only speak for myself, must consider the entire city and be fiscally responsible, which means often that I need to be more risk-averse than I normally would be. As I already explained, I have talked with many of you, read the research, and I am making the most informed decision that I can possibly make. While it is not what some of you may want to hear, I have concluded it is important for me to accept the bid and move forward with this plan. It is also important to integrate the change order suggestions that we have talked about in these various groups, which include the possibility of trenchless technology, different tree types, and other ideas. I'm not expecting it to be popular, but I have met with all sides on the issue and put a lot of my personal time to be responsive and find answers to different groups and individuals' questions and concerns. I hope you respect my choice as being in the best interest of the entire city and know that I will be continuing to be involved as we face this together.
Any other comments from City Council? If not, there's a motion before us. Is there any amendments to the motion related to any of the bid alternatives?
So is this where we would ask about the additives?
So, right, this is what I'm saying is within the bid alternatives, are there any additives that you'd like to make a motion to? We'd vote, if there was a second, we would then vote on that additive to add it to the main motion, and then we'd come back to the main motion again.
If I
Yeah,
may.
please, Councilmember Weller.
I know there's been some discussions about the planter boxes. I'm not sure if other council members have feelings on this. I don't feel that it's extremely important, but I'm also not.
Sorry.
No,
Sure.
please go ahead.
So at this time, the motion is only for the base bid.
Okay.
So if you'd like to add in one of the alternatives, then that would be a motion to add in. So if you want to add in that.
Yeah, I'm
Okay. So those would, so at this time, the planter boxes is not part of the
Good, that's
base
perfect.
bid.
Yeah.
Councilmember Parks?
I would like to add in the Pine Street utilities, but I'd like to know the council's other feeling on that. I mean, it seems important, and it seems like something that should be done now. That's why I would like to add it.
And as a part of that, it's in order to, well, we can have the discussion, but what we'll need to get to is deciding on which alternative is a part. So do you have a preference on an alternative if we did additive 6? And that's the concrete resurfacing, the new pavers, or the reinstall the old pavers. And that's okay. I'm asking the question.
I would say reinstall old pavers because that is what has been communicated to us as a preference. But professionally, I don't know what the best option is.
So related to additive 6, any comments?
I agree with Member Parks and reinstalling the old pavers.
So you.
I also agree with that, but I guess point of clarification is, can we vote just on the base bid and then vote individually on the additives?
No, we cannot, because it's a special meeting, so we can only, if it was not a special meeting, yes, we could. Because it's a special meeting, we can only do the one vote. So in this case, what would happen is, what would entertain is if someone would like to make a motion to move to amend the motion to add additive 6 alternate C, which is reinstall the old papers. Is there someone that'd like to make that motion?
So moved.
So, and then is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so discussion around this additive 6. And then what we would do is we would vote whether or not to add additive 6 to the main motion. We would still then need to vote on the main motion. So any discussion on the 6? Yes, Councilmember Fajarin.
I'll just say that considering how I will be voting on the base reg, I don't think it would be appropriate for make any comments on the additives.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, point of procedure. Maybe I'm not as familiar on Roberts as I should be, but I think if you're amending a previous motion, you need the approval of the people that made that motion and second.
Oh.
Is there,
I made the motion.
so there's approval for made the motion, is there approval for that?
Yeah, would that be considered, again, I'm a little hazy in this regard on Roberts. Would that be considered a friendly amendment to the original motion?
What I'd like to do is do initial, just to clarify through the process. You're in favor of adding it, but what I'd like to is continue the discussion on alternate 6, additive 6, alternate C, which is reinstalling the old pavers. Any other discussion related to that? If not, then I'll call for a vote on whether or not to add additive 6, alt C, to the original motion. That motion still will need to be voted on. So all those in favor of additive 6, alt C added to the main motion signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
So that's a 5-2 to add. So we're back to the main motion. Are there any other motions around any of the other additives? So right now with the main motion plus additive 6, alt C. If there's no other discussion, then I'll move for a vote. So all those in favor of resolution R0824, resolution accepting the bid of Apollo Incorporated for the Pullman Downtown Improvement Project and authorizing execution and delivery of the contract for the said project. As a part of that, it would be the base bid and additive 6, alt 3.
Alt C.
Alt C, thank you. And I'm just looking to staff for clarification that we have the
Yeah,
right.
just a moment, please, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Council Mayor, for point
Yes.
of clarification, the way that it was presented in your packets during the budget piece was for ease of reading, but the way that the resolution is actually written, the motion would be for bid alternative 6, Schedule A, 6, Schedule B, and bid alternative 6, alternate C would accomplish
Okay.
what you're trying
So what we would
to
do is
accomplish.
add in bid alternate 6, Schedule A and B, and then it would bid alternative 6, alternate C. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So those three are for, and if we can go, let's go back to the original adding this, just so it's clear. So within this would be bid additive 6, Schedule A, bid additive 6, Schedule B, and bid additive 6, alternate C. So it's the two schedules plus the alternate. All those in favor of what was proposed, I just want to make sure it's in the record when I called for the bid. So all those in favor of adding that to the main motion signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstain? Okay, so it's 5-2, so that passes. And so we're back to the original resolution. Any other discussion on it? If not, then resolution number R0824, resolution accepting the bid of Apollo Incorporated for the Pullman Downtown Improvement Project and authorizing execution and delivery of the contract for said project. And this would include the bid and then the bid alternate 6 Schedule A, bid alternate 6 Schedule B, and bid alternate 6 alternate C. I got the head nod. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
It passes. With that, having completed all of the work that for this special meeting, there can be no other. With this, I thank everybody for your time, for everybody's heart in the midst of this. And with that, entertain the motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.